Hello friends, good morning, good afternoon. In this session, we are going to see how to purge the data, how to archive the data, and in some cases, there is a millions of records. We have to delete it from the table. Then which way is effective from performance point of view? So we will see in this session. So let's start. Yes, right now I'm selecting the count of records from this daily meal collection table, and the count is approximately 65 lakhs. We can call it as a 65 6.5 million. And yes, so one more thing here, we have to delete the data from 2 years back or a 1 year back. So which way is effective? And yeah, so first of all, we will think about the what is meant by purging, what is meant by archival, and yeah, h- how to make it as a performant way. And one more thing, right now table having this number of records, and in last session means SQL project we seen how to insert the millions of records in a table, correct? So this is the query for that, and I uploaded in on a portal as well. So with the help of that you can insert the millions of records in the table. This is the blog learn SQL with sagar.blogspot.com, and there is the project means here there are 2 to 3 different tags and dairy project, and in that you have to go on scripts. Here I am create here scripts are mentioned means there is a create table script, then insert data script and insert data script 2.2. So it contains the rate master table, and one more thing, there is a insert data script which is the 2.3, and we are inserting millions of records. So here I said means how many records, and if we have to modify that records value is from 21 to 22, you have to make it as a 24, it can, no problem. So just mention that value or change that value and you can insert number of records, correct? So same script at here. So I inserted multiple records in here, and yeah, right now count is the 6.5 million around, and we have to do some activity, correct? So first of all, purging. What is meant by purging? Actually, it is the process of to cleaning the old data. Means which is not required. Means suppose a table, let's say daily meal collection is the table and it contains 5 years data or a 6 year data. Correct? If we are checking the data, select star from daily meal collection, I will get millions of records. But I will what I will do, I will selecting only top 10 records, order by date time descending. Date time is the column for that particular table, and yes, suppose intelligence is not come, then go to the edit, then there is a intelligence, then there is a refresh local cache. So means there is a sometime red underline, so that will remove. And yeah, so we will get 10 records, and from which right now miss 7th July 2023 data is available, but I have to check from which day data is started. So 2021 0101 order by daily milk collection year 2021 0101 means from this date we are having a data, correct? So and there is a transaction ID ascending way, we can do that, no problem. But right now I want data from as a date wise, right? So what I have to do, I have to delete the data, old data means let's say historical data, I have to remove that. Okay, not problem, no any problem. In this process means we are deleting such records, those are not required, means cleaning the old data. So we can call it as a purging or deleting. And In this case, data is not important. Yeah, please understood. Data is not important for us. May suppose that particular daily milk collection is the table, and we required only current year data. Rest of the data I don't want. So in this case, we are using the purging method. And second thing, archival. Archival is nothing but suppose there is a use case like uh, we required the old data. Means let's say I am right now we are in a 2023 and we have to keep the data for 2022 and past 1 year data, and before of that I have to clean up. Means rest of the data before 2022 I have to clean up that data. Means right now 2023 and I am keeping only 1 year data or a 6 month data. Hmm? There is a, as per the our organization policy, based on that we have to clean up the data before 1 year or a 6 month before. So there is a different policy, based on that we have to clean the data. So right now I am considering we have to keep the data for 2022 and rest of the data I have to clean. What we have to do right now means for 2023 data in the current table, 2021 it is in the archive table. Archive table is just the same replicated copy of the current table schema wise, and it contains the old data means 2022 year data, and based before of that data we have to clean up completely. Correct. So right now we are not considering in as a cleanup point of view. We are just checking before of that 2022 means I have to keep the data only for current year 2023 and rest of the data in the archive table. So yeah, what definition is saying, move the data from one table to the another table, call it as a archive table. Correct. And old historical data maybe we will require in the future. Yeah, it is useful data and we require in the future. That's why we are keeping it somewhere in the sum table, because current table size is a very huge. Means there is a, if you are saying uh, select count from daily milk collection and I want the data where date time is equal to 2023 0101. Correct. So I have to make a convert because for date comparison point of view, it is not giving the right answer. So yeah, what I will get for that particular date wise data, and if I'm saying there are 6,000 records in it, means for that particular date in daily milk collection table, and right now the performance is a very fast because there is only one index on it. But in case there are multiple indexes on table, so maybe the performance is degrade. And let's say I have to keep check means where the customer id is equal to 33, and so it will take some time. If you see the execution plan of it, then yeah, clustered index is non-cluster means that particular index is missing. Which index is missing right now? Customer id and date, because customer id don't have an index, that's why it scan the data. Correct. Here you could see there is a 6590880 records. There is a last sixth row estimated number of rows to be read, means it reads the data 6.5 million records. Be careful about it. So every query is taking too much time, then what will be the impact on our server? Definitely our server will having problem with performance bottleneck. Correct. That's why we are moving this data in a archive table, so we can have a minimal data and we can retrieve the data very quickly. Either you can make an index, but more index on a table it is not the good practice. So from performance point of view, we have to make a lightweight table and which is the more performant. Whenever index is required, then and then create the index, otherwise no need. from insert, update, delete, index is not good suitable. It is suitable from searching point of view. Correct. So yeah, so shown you the performance why we require to keep the minimal data in the table. Correct. Means purging, we seen purging and what is the archival. We seen the definition only, right? So we have to see the use case, actual practical things about it. So before going to purge, we have to consider some points. Means first of all, that particular table having any dependency, means check the dependency as well. Correct. Means there is a stored procedure having the uh, code like they are returning 2021 years data, 2022 years data. So we need to check means where that code is written or something. So how to check the dependency? So table, go to the table, and after that there is a properties, or here you can check the dependency. So in which table it means right now the table on which stored procedure it is used, or then there is a objects on which daily meal collection depends, means registration tables. This is table is depends on, then there is a in which stored procedure it is dependent on. So we have to take care of that as well. Perfect. Okay. And then trigger, why trigger is used? Because to do the some action, means when we are inserting or when we are uh, after, means there are two triggers. One is the before insert the data into the trigger, means checking the condition and then it will insert the data. So pre and post. Correct. Means instead of trigger and for trigger. Instead of trigger means while inserting the data into the table, it will check what we have to do, or the things are satisfied or not, or based on that it will insert the data. Otherwise it gives us an error. Or then there is a post uh, DML statement, means when we are inserting the data, after the insertion of the data, uh, which action we have to perform, then we can call it as a triggers. And why when trigger is called, actually when there is a truncate statement is happen on the table, then no trigger will call. But when there is a delete statement will happen on the table, then row by row, if I am deleting 10 records, these 10 records, so behind of that there is a trigger. So it will call, means it will trigger and perform the necessary action. So we have to check from that perspective as well. Then replication it means in database administration s- sessions I will I will uh, give the complete session on the replication, how to replicate the data. Means once we are inserting the data at here in daily meal collection, same data will replicated in the replicated database. Means replication in between the dairy project and another database. Correct. So we have to do that dependency, means data is deleting from here as well as data is deleting from that database as well. So replication is the dependency. And foreign key means, let's say daily meal collection is the table and there are some tables dependent on it, means transaction id used as a foreign key in another table. So if you use cascade on delete, correct. So if we delete that record from this table, then same records will delete from the child table. Correct. So what will happen in this case? Data is deleted from prime parent table as well as child table. Correct. And uh, we need to consider that foreign key constraints as well. And index it means suppose you are inserting the 5 records in the table, so in the background index is also uh, updating, means whatever the records you are inserting into the table, or whatever the records are you are deleting from the table, index is also updating in the background. That's why more index is not important. Why they are actually it's slowing the performance. Suppose I am deleting these 10 records from table, so from index that record will not, means that record also delete from the index as well. please uh, listen carefully about it. Means if you are inserting, index will update. From delete point of view, index will also uh, affect. Correct. Means there is a rebuild, reorganize index is also come into the picture. So this is from the database maintenance point of view. And next thing, constraints. Sometime we have to disable the constraint. Means suppose I am switching from I have to apply the partition on this table. Correct. So we need to disable the sum constraint, or we need to drop the sum constraint and then recreate it. So constraint point of view. Why I am saying you all these points? Because actually before going to implement, we need to consider some points. Then and then take the better decision. Or half of the task is done and then yeah, I forget this thing, I forget this thing. No, before going to implement the task, please check the whatever the implications about that particular thing and then do the task. Correct. And then sec- next thing is that space reclaim. Means add, suppose you delete the thousands of record from the table. Actually those are experienced candidate, they also known. Means suppose we delete the multiple records from the table, we need, means in the background transaction log is increased, we need to free that space. So we have to shrink the database, we have to shrink the log file, or rebuild the table in the background. These are the some database administration point of view. Means in the conclusion point of view, we have to reclaim the space. Got it? So that is the space, it is the post activity. Got it? And next thing, frequency. Suppose we are deleting 100 record or 1000 records per day before of that particular 90 days data. Correct. And yeah, what is the frequency? First time it will take some time, but when it is in a regular mode, means for per day or a weekly basis, then we have to choose the frequency on, means we have to execute in a day basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis. It is your choice. Means based on the data, based on the your business strategies, or we can say, means your database workload in business hours, you have to do it in a non-business hours activity. Correct. So you have to schedule that frequency. And then transaction log. Obviously when we are deleting some records from the database or inserting data into the table, then in the background transaction log will increase. Why? Because you are committing some records or you are deleting some records from the table, then in the background transaction log, means log file contains the data phase, and then it will come into the mdf file, and then we can truncate that particular transaction log file, or means we can reclaim the space, or we have to shrink that particular log file, then we will get the more space. Correct. Okay. Yeah, then we can start the purging or deleting mechanism. If we have a use case like before 180 days, we have to delete the data. Simple case. Means let's say the database is in a, means our frequency is on a daily basis, and what our frequency, we are running daily this code. Correct. And what is our code? Actually we have to delete the data from daily milk collection table daily basis. But one more thing, what is the criteria to delete the data? Means we have to keep the data in our table for 180 days, and rest of the data I don't care. This is the use case. Correct. And we will see archive in the few minutes. But before of that, right now we are concentrating on the delete or purging the data. Correct. So we are keeping the data in daily mail collection for 180 days, right? And rest of the data I am deleting. I have to delete it. So delete from daily mail collection where date time is greater than is equal to 180 days. Yeah, you can do the stored procedure for this, means create procedure. Very simple. Create procedure, purge daily mail collection as begin and we can configure that particular configuration point of view, means there is a one table. We can set there what is the table name and what is the frequency, sorry, not the frequency, what is the actual date, means how much data we have to keep in this table. Correct. So which is nothing but the duration, we can call it as a duration in days. So we will retrieve that values from the setting table, huh? Configuration table we can call it as a, right? And we will get that value. Hmm? And after that, once we are having a value, we will have a stored procedure and we can create a one stored procedure. Here is the very simple stored procedure. And see, we have to, right now I'm not passing any parameter to it, very simple proc I did. And yeah, based on miss 180 days data, I have to delete it. I am just commenting it. I'm just giving you the example of table miss stored procedure SQL statement. What are the, this is the statement is important, right? So what will happen in the background? It will delete the data older than 180 days. I am refreshing the database and I am showing you the file size right now, 584 MB. Correct. So execute it. Here I deleted the data within 13 seconds. Correct. But what what is the problem behind of it? In your database or in maybe in a production environment, this is not the suitable case because it logs the table, transaction is occurring on that particular table, and then it will might create a performance slowness or a performance issue. So what will be the better approach? I will show you in some minutes, but before of that, there is a right now what will be the file size of that particular. Yeah, here you can see there is a log file size is increased from 554, I think 500 MB, and right now it is a 1.6 MB, means the, sorry, 1 gigs, 1.5 gigs, correct. So log file is increased. How to reduce that? Miss, how to shrink that file? Yeah, we can just click on it and just task and then go to the shrink and files. Then you will see here there is a log file size. But first of all, if you have to shrink this file, means there is a 68 percentage. You need data recovery model as a simple recovery model. Right now, data recovery model is the full, right? If we are making it as a simple, then it does not log the means we can free up that particular shrink file. Here you could see there is a 96 percentage we can free up. Okay. And task, then shrink files, data file also we have a scope. Okay. And then task, database, yeah, database wise is reorganize files, means we have to do that activity. Refresh it and task, then properties, you could see from 850 something MB, but right now it is in a good shape. Correct. We have to do the this activity after the post, means when we delete the data, but every day we are deleting n number of data from the table. It actually, in this machine, there is a no any application dependency. We are just alone database. Even performance point of performance is also good. And but in production environment this is not the case, real case, and we will getting the too much slowness in terms of executing such a command. So we have to do this in terms of the batch. How to do that? Select, sorry, delete top 1000 record from daily mail collection. Correct. So it will delete in a batch wise, means top one means 1000 batch, and means there is a log file size will also not increase if we execute. So you are not getting any records. So first of all, what I will do, I will insert the millions of records in this table again, and then I will show you how to delete. And even file size is also not increasing. Yeah, let's see how many records in daily meal collection. 4.7. Okay, this is enough, so I am stopping it. Okay, so we have a 4.7 million record in it. Correct. And yeah, and how much records before of the 6 month, or yeah, 4.5 million means there is an, yeah, approximately. And for that particular date, yeah, it is just I'm randomly check, no problem. So our objective is we have to delete the data for, means in a batches. How to delete that? Yeah, we have to mention right now. Before, previously we mentioned delete from daily meal collection where date time is greater than. And what are the disadvantage? It is locking, blocking if you enable the transaction, or there is a miss, it will wait, or a transaction log file um, increase. And there is a, again we have to reclaim the space, and all these things are considered. Correct. And here, if we do in a batch wise, means 100 batch or a 1000 records batch, yeah, statement is the same. Means before of 180 days older data, we are deleting. And right now, here, top 100 means 100 record affected, row count will be the 100. Correct. So it is greater than 0. Yes, it will go into the while loop, and it will come out from that particular loop when we have a 0 records in it. Correct. And then we can say, yeah, the data deletion is completed successfully. So in the procedure we have to mention this code. Right now we are check, we means right now we are working on a second part, means in a batch deletion. We can do it in a one stroke, but we seen what are the disadvantage of it, and right now we are checking with batch deletion. Yeah, batch deletion we can call it as a smooth deletion. Means in the batch we are deleting the records, and right now we are checking the first of all count, how much count. Yeah, this is the count we have, and right now I am executing this query, and yeah, for means few minutes. So let's say, I think I am not waiting for more than 30 seconds. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm stopping it. So let's see, 300 or 400 records affected. So let's see the count, and yeah, this is the count we have. Miss 400 records, we deleted them. Correct. And So it is nothing but the batch deletion, and in this case transaction log file will also increase but slowly, because there is a not holding the too much data in the log file, and we are deleting it so slowly. Correct. Yeah. One thing I have to say, means suppose we are deleting the records from table, correct, and in this case there is a might be CPU or IO will increase. Means how to see, in server there is right click, then there is a activity monitor. With the help of that we can see what is the processor allocation, what is the database IO, and based on that we can check that particular background activity, that particular mm, commands, correct, means whatever the SQL commands are executing on the server. And there may be a case, means suppose there is a 80% or 70% is acquiring that CPU, then we have to how to uh, resolve that. So we have a maxed of option, means maximum degree of parallelism, means we are allocating one CPU for it. So if we delete, means we are executing this command, then in the background it will allocate processor for that to do that activity, correct. So let's see, here I am executing this, it will take some time, and one CPU is allocated for that particular process. And but here there is a no any problematic situation, means like the CPU or IO will completely increase from 0 to 70 80% or such like that activity, means we are uh, doing this activity in a smooth way. Okay, means if I am stopping this activity, so right now we are not able to see exact performance because this is not the production server, or that's why, correct. Because, and from application point of view also we are not getting the any queries from solution side, application side, and there is no any other users are connected to it, correct. So I'm only on it, and so that's why it is a very free for us, that's why it is executing fast. Okay. And yeah, the next thing is archival, correct. What is the process of archival, means move the data from one table to the another table, means those data is the historical, those data is not in use, we can purge it directly. But some data is the historical data and we need it in future, then we can move that data from our current table to the archive table. First of all, let's see what is the current count of that particular table. Daily meal collection, this is the table count, correct. And um, are, what is the data count before of the um, 6 months, so this is the count, right. And uh, we have to archive the data, correct, from daily meal collection. So I am taking the count, means how much data we have to delete it, sorry, we have to move it, we have to move this data, correct, means these counts, out of this count we have to keep this data, means 88 records in 88,000 records in the current table, and these records count in the archive table, so that our query will make fast, means insert, update, delete, all the things, means there is a indexing will take very slow time. And a database administration point of view it is also better, from query performance point of view, update statistics point of view. So we are keeping only 6 month data in the current table and rest of the data in historical table, correct. So for that we have to do the archive logic. How to do that? Yeah, first of all we have to create the replica, means we have to shift the data, means uh, we are creating the table first, and then we are moving the data from our daily meal collection table to the archive table, correct. And then we have to delete the data from daily milk collection. Correct. Shifting the data and delete from it. So we will get this miss. We are keeping the that particular copy of data in the archive table, and we are removing that from the current table. That is the our goal. So begin try and end try. So this is the proc I written just before few minutes. So same code, create procedure name as begin, correct, and then at the end we have to begin and end, we have a code, right? So I am making a full screen right now, and yes, begin transaction. So why we require the transaction here? First thing first, what we have to do, we have to shifting the data and then deleting the data. These are the two activities. Means if we shift the data from daily meal collection to the archive meal collection, yeah, it is fine, but there is a in between that there is a error is occurred, and we didn't deleted that data, then we are again shifting, need to shift that data. So what we have to do, either all of them or none of them. Means either do the both the things, means we are transferring 100 records from here to archive table, means daily mail collection to the archive table, and then delete it, then we can, yeah, make it as a successful one, correct. Otherwise we can't, means half of the activity is done and half of the activity is not done, so it is not the good case, correct. So what I am doing here, first of all, I am initiating the transaction, right, and then commit the transaction. Means in that we are capturing the 100 records from daily mail collection, we are inserting and then deleting from the daily mail collection table, correct, and then commit the transaction. So in such a way that we are doing this activity, or we can do the while loop as well in this. Means first of all, I'm just making it for 100 records only, that's why. Or we can do the while loop, means till the data we have, we will continue that loop, correct. So first of all, we need archive table. How to create that? Create the table. Why I am showing you the definition, you can create it easily, no problem, but I am there are two things important. Means previously, in daily mail collection there is a identity. If you see the definition of it, if you grab it and just click on it and just create, sorry, create to, then new query window. So correct, here there is a identity column. Hmm? And yeah, rest of the constraints are here, but in this table, archive table, we don't require any constraint, right? Means it is foreign key, primary key, we are skipping it right now, and ideally it is not required, because we are just selecting the data from it and inserting data it, whatever the data we have in a daily mail collection, correct. So we are not checking anything here. So no any constraint is required, only primary key constraint, because the table will not make it as a heap, and we are creating the primary key clustered index on it. So to fetch the data based on the transaction id which is required for the join, correct. Okay, so here identity I removed it here. And one more thing, where, means actually we are transferring the data, but when? That's why it is the default column, default value I am passing to here, default get date, and column name is a archive date time. Correct. So we are adding one more column, archive date time, and just removing the identity column. Means whatever the exact replica of that particular data, uh, we are just copying from there to here. Means transaction id and all the columns as it is, and archive date time, it is the new column we are adding it right now. Correct. This is the first step. We have to create the table definition, and this is the code. Correct. So same code which is at here, right? And what I'm picking 100 records here because we have to check means which 100 record I am shifting from daily mail collection to the archive daily mail collection table, right? So here is the top 100 I am picking based on that particular date time. Correct. And then I am inserting into the temp table. And then what I am doing actually, here is the insert command, means we are shifting the data. Correct. Means moving the data from daily mail collection to the archive. And here is the daily mail collection data, right? And we are inner join with temp table, means which 100 records I am picking up. So we have to make the join in between them, means temp table and main daily meal collection table, and only those 100 records we are shifting. Correct. And then delete from that tables, delete from those records from the daily meal collection. And we seen how to do the join in between two tables and delete the record, because in previous session we seen miss update with join, then delete with join. Correct. So that is the reference come at here. And yeah, just commit the transaction. And what I will do, I am just executing it. So in background, yeah, there is a three records are affected, 300 records are affected. I modified the code at here, means directly insert into the temp table. So what I created here, I am created the temp table. Correct. And then after that we have to insert the data, means top 100 data. And previously it was the condition was wrong, means instead of that, previously I made it as a greater than, we have to make it as a less than, because older data we have to move. Correct. And yeah, we inserted the 100 records in it. And previously, in I didn't apply the while condition, and right now here is the while condition, means still, means till the data we have, we are deleting it, right? And yeah, begin transaction and then commit the transaction inside the while loop. I think for these two commands we require the transaction. Correct. Means whatever the data we have, we are inserting and then delete and then commit the transaction and then truncate the table, means again, we are removing the data from it. That's why we are using the truncate table hash temp. And then again we are inserting 100 records, right? And then row count will affect. Correct. Means row count will be the 100. 100 is greater than 0, yes, then again come, means the process will repeat till the 0 records, right? So let's see. First of all, I am checking the data in two tables. Select, and I will upload all the queries on the portal so that you will get that query. And yeah, right now 110 records in it. Okay, I am clearing it out first of all. Correct. Right now we have data in it. Okay, 4.73. And instead of that, yeah, this condition is important. 4.6 million records we have we have to shift it. Correct. This is the code, and either you can execute the proc as well, nothing problem. Execute the code means from begin, try, end try, and begin catch and end catch. Correct. Or you can execute the proc as well. And if you see the message, there are means 100 rows affected, 100 rows affected based on the means first of all inserting 100 records, then you are inserting into the archive table, then deleting from a daily mail collection, and then here we are inserting again temp table. So one by one that process is continuing, and while row count is not greater than equal to 0 means whatever the data we have, so we are executing it, right? So I am stopping it because it will take too much time for 4.5 million records. So I am stopping it, and you can see in archive daily mail collection there is a 2.49. Correct. Means there is a 249K records in it, and at the end you can see there is a date and time means when it was transferred, and there is a transaction ID, whatever the transaction ID in the daily mail collection. If you see same transaction ID in the daily mail collection, you will not getting. Why? Because we deleted from that table and we shift that data into the daily mail collection table. Here you could specify option maxed up equal to 1 means for to control the CPU, means there is a one CPU is allocated for that particular process. Correct. So no any CPU hamper will come, right? And yeah, same for the delete command and same for the insert command. Okay. And yeah, and one more thing, there is a alternative way means here you could see there is a daily mail collection, we call two times means insert into, and there is a daily mail collection. We are selecting the data from daily mail collection, and then again we are deleting it from daily mail collection, means two times we are calling that particular table. But if we have to call at one time, then there is another solution. Delete top 100 means whatever the records we have to delete, and del means delete from daily mail collection and output whatever the deleted data, insert into the archive table daily mail collection. This is the archive table. Correct. And on which basis there is a date. Correct. Means older than 180 days data we are shifting from daily mail collection to the archive daily mail collection, and deleted and inserted are the magic table, means in background of the trigger, right? Means in triggers we are using that magic tables, means there are only two tables, inserted and deleted, right? And we are shifting whatever the data from deleted tables to the archive mail table collection, right? Here you could see there is a, yeah, cannot insert null value because actually we are having the constant, we have to pass all the values, means fat id, snf id, and whatever the data we have. So pass that particular data, means deleted that all the columns should be available here, and then there is a insert into archive delimitation, then it will success. Okay. So here is just we have to means delete from, then where this is the condition, and into, right? Means we are transferring the data, and from which, sorry, yeah, from which there is a deleted dot, means data we have one by one data move into the archive table. In the next session we will see how to delete millions of records in a one stroke without transaction logging. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, please share it and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much. Bye bye.